Hi, I'm Jaeden,
I'm Logan.
and today's presentation we're going to be talking about greenwashing. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term greenwashing, it is ultimately a marketing approach in which organizations and corporations deceive their consumers into believing that they are following environmentally friendly policies in order to conceal their past dubious environmental record. Advertisements and selective packaging are two of the most common examples of greenwashing. Later on, I'll go through this in further detail. According to a new global analysis done by the Economist Intelligence Unit in 2021, searches for sustainable goods have increased by 71% in popularity over the last 5 years. Now, although there has been a significant increase in public awareness of greenwashing in recent years, it has been a problem for a long time.
The history of greenwashing, the greenwashing has been around for a pretty long time, but it really gained popularity when mass media started to influence society. One of the first examples of greenwashing is when that oil company Chevron began using greenwashing in their commercials in the early 80s. And that was when the term greenwashing was really first used by environmentalist Jay Westerfeld. And the reason why greenwashing gained popularity in the 80s is because that was really the time where everyone started to get their news from one source, like the newspaper or maybe television eventually. And it was always around before that, companies wanted to portray a good image for themselves, even if they're doing something shady, but it was much harder for them to portray themselves because they couldn't appeal to all of society at once.
As Logan and I continue to discuss greenwashing, it's critical to understand why the media considers the behaviors associated with the term to be negative. Many individuals believe that certain businesses can benefit from this strategy by seeing increasing sales and gaining a competitive advantage over their competitors. This makes it appear as though the company is looking for an easy cash grab rather than actually caring about sustainability and indulging in sustainable activities and/or practices. A report published in the Harvard Business Review in 2019 by authors Whelan and Krothal-Sacco showed that a company, Unilever, showed that with its sustainable living brands, turnover growth is now 70%. This supports the idea that sales and sustainable products are positively correlated. Another reason greenwashing is deemed bad is that it causes environmentally conscious consumers to believe that they are buying from a firm that is truly concerned about the environment. In an article published by Ann Brower in 2016, an environmentally conscious consumer stated that you buy the greener version because you think it's better than the normal brand, and then it turns out that the money from both goes to the same big corporation. As a result, consumers have pointed out the signs for determining whether or not a company is attempting to greenwash them. The first sign is when a company lacks evidence or is unable to back up claims about sustainable practices. This could also be an indication of the company conjuring up outright lies. As an example, claiming that a product and/or company is sustainable despite the fact that its ecological footprint suggests otherwise. Another sign is the use of ambiguous and/or vague keywords. Some sources even claim that using the word sustainable can be off-putting because it's the first word that comes up in a search engine and is easy to slap on a product without, again, having any proof. Colors and images are most notably the easiest ways to spot greenwashing. As I said before, this is mainly done through advertising and product marketing. As you can see on the right, companies usually color green and nature imagery to visually display and persuade you that their product is sustainable and/or better for the environment.
All right, so this will be our first example of greenwashing in the 1980s Chevron oil commercial. All right, so there's no sound, but Basically, the commercial is just showing videos of nature and saying that the company is works through the winter so that the animals will be safe in the spring. And if you know anything about oil companies, that really doesn't matter when they're working. The damage that they do to the environment is it, it's bad regardless of the season that they work during. And so really they're showing no evidence of being better for the environment. They're just showing pictures, beautiful pictures of nature and saying that their company is good without backing it up. Another example of greenwashing can be found in the fast fashion industry. Likely heard of brands such as H&M, where they sell very cheap articles of clothing and they advertise their clothing as environmentally friendly without really backing it up with much evidence. And the lifetime of these clothes is very short, so that people will buy more clothes and the company can make more money. And while the clothes also may last a decently long time, maybe a couple of years, the companies purposely try to change their stock so that fashion trends will come and go quicker and people will buy more clothes, even if their clothes aren't worn out. Here we have another commercial. I guess there's no sound, but there should be some text on the screen. It's for a nuclear power plant or a nuclear power company. And see, they say no carbon emissions, no air pollution, but that's really not the case with anything. There's always going to be some emissions. And we know that nuclear energy, while it may be better than some options, is not completely clean. And it says it creates it in the commercial. It says it creates clean air, which I mean, that's not really possible. But yeah, they show pictures of families, nature, bridges, just really beautiful things that have not much to do with the company. And they make claims like they will fix the environment, even if they might not be doing that. So the goals of greenwashing are pretty self-explanatory, but most of the time, a company is probably trying to lie and cover up some of their environmentally damaging actions and uh, convince the public that what they're doing is right for the environment. And really, they're trying to distract from a large problem by doing something pretty minuscule to help the environment. For example, Home Depot and Lowe's provide recycling centers for some of the products that they sell, which is good. There's no doubt that that's helpful, but they're also producing tons and tons of toxic materials that are very bad for the environment. And some companies may actually be trying to do their part to protect the environment, but it just isn't enough, and they're actually still damaging the environment. But an example of this could be electric cars, because electric cars, they don't use gas, which is good. It's a step in the right direction, but a lot of the production processes can create a lot of harmful byproducts towards the environment.
To conclude this presentation, here are some pointers on how to avoid being influenced if you are or are considering becoming a sustainable consumer. To begin, being able to recognize and be aware of the previously mentioned warning signs will undoubtedly be beneficial. Along with this, it is important that you conduct your own research, not only on the product and its ingredients, but also on the company. This can help you decide whether or not to purchase items from certain companies. This in turn will also allow you to gain more knowledge about specific products and assist you in becoming more environmentally conscious. Finding reliable certifications on the label and/or company website is one of the easier ways to avoid being influenced without spending too much time. Green Seal and Forest Alliance are two examples. Finally, shop with intent. This can help save time when looking for products and/or making purchases. Now, I know these pointers may seem overwhelming at first, but as time passes, you will gain more knowledge about sustainability and it will become easier.